The Mummy returns.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam. Going to be speed running a little mini series here on the channel because there's going to be a new Mummy movie coming out, and I still have some Mummy movies that I've yet to cover. So I've asked around, and I've got some people to review the remaining modern Universal Mummy movies. No one took Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. I can't imagine why, but I digress. Here today, though, we're talking about The Mummy Returns, and to hear me talk about, or to help me talk about that, is returning guest Ozapez Al. Pez, welcome back. Thank you for joining.
Even I wouldn't take Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, and I love Brendan Fraser in these movies.
Did that movie like run over someone's dog? Like I've never
Look,
understood.
it's a combination of a lot of things. It just doesn't feel like a mummy movie. You cast Maria Bello, and I love Maria Bello, but she's not Rachel Weisz. It's got a weird vibe to it. It's Rob Cohen. It just doesn't feel the same. It feels out of place, man. It just does. So that's a whole other topic for another day. That's not what we're talking about today. Yeah.
Thank you for joining. You were actually part of when I was doing the 99 project, you joined me along with Jake Collins to talk about the first Brendan Fraser Mummy movie. That was a ton of fun. And 2 years later, they returned to the well and they did The Mummy Returns. This was directed once again by Stephen Sommers, sees the return of Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. Most of the original cast returns, and I will touch on that in a second, but this is not the first, and we'll talk about this, but this is the first big movie role for a guy by the name of Dwayne Johnson, who we know as The Rock. Now, and we'll touch on this, but this is not his first role. He had been in small things, but this is like the thing that got him started, and the rest is history. But it picks up the O'Connells having found the bracelet of Anubis, which the Scorpion King used to control the armies of Anubis. He got cursed. It was a whole big thing. But Scorpion King wants the bracelet back, and, well, Imhotep wants it as well. So it's two mummies having a kind of civil war, and the O'Connells trying to stop them both. So, Pez, just general thoughts on this. What do you think of this one?
I think it's good. I don't think it's quite up to par of the first movie. I think what's really missing for me in this one, and I still think this is an entertaining movie. I want to say that right up front. I still think this movie has a great fast pace to it. I think there's a lot going on for it. My real issue and why it's not quite up to snuff with the first one is the difference is I don't feel like this movie takes the time to have those character moments, those character beats that the first one does. Some of my favorite moments in the first movie are not necessarily the action. It's like the little character beats, the back and forths, the interactions, just the quieter moments between Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz, the little comedic moments between, Rick and Benny, those types of things and their chemistry. Even just a little bit of the backstory that we get of Imhotep and some of the prologue. Like, I think you sympathize with him to a degree, things like that. They just kind of speed run everything in this movie. This movie never stops. It's just like constant, like, all right, here's what we're doing. We got to go to this place like a video game. We got to go to this place and get this thing. Okay, we're here. Now we're literally, there's a montage in this movie where we're jumping like a video game from like place to place to place to place to place. And it's so fast. Like this movie hardly, takes time to take a breath. But again, having said that, I still think Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz have like good chemistry together, as they always do. I still like Oded Fair. John Hannah doesn't have as much to do in this one. In rewatching it, I forgot that he really doesn't have anything to do in this movie. He's just kind of there and drops a line here. It feels like they forgot to write his part. They're like, we got to have him back, but we don't really have anything for you to do. I like the Rock stuff for what we get. I mean, he's kind of the part of the prologue, to the movie, and then we get that abomination of a CGI at the end of the movie. I'm sure we'll talk about it, but again, I think this movie still rips along at a good little clip. There's really solid action set pieces. There may be one too many MacGuffins in this movie as well. There's like 3 MacGuffins if you think about it, because there's the bracelet, there's the kid wearing the bracelet, and the kid is kind of a MacGuffin too, and the spear. The spear is also kind of a MacGuffin in its own right. So, but I like the backstory for Rachel Weisz and Nefertiti and the Anaxinamun stuff. Like, actually, it gives her something to do in this movie, like something fresh, a little action, and I appreciate that, for what it is. So it has its pros and its cons, but overall, I'm still positive on it.
Yeah, like I said, the biggest headline to take away, in my opinion, is that this is like The Rock's big coming out. Like, and to your point, he really only has one true moment on screen where he's like you recognize him as The Rock. Like the rest of the
Right.
time, he's either a mummy or he's that weird looking CGI
Scorpion.
Goro
Yeah.
from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. 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 Right.
But you only get him in the beginning, and he's like Aku Patente, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
And he eats a scorpion. Like that's literally all that you see of him. Like
Yeah.
I like in 2001 when this movie came out. Like and we're both wrestling fans, so we know the backstory
Yes.
behind this. He loses at Mania 17. He goes to film this and then comes back.
Right. He goes to film this. He misses the first part of the invasion angle, and then he comes back, to kind of save the WWF from the invasion and send
Prob-
evil Stone Cold Steve Austin. So yes, no, I'm very familiar. I was watching in 2001 when this happened. And everybody knew, and this is like even the early days of like internet reporting or whatever. But like word had gotten out, like even in Hollywood, that he was doing his first big movie. And being a Mummy fan, I knew it was The Mummy Returns. I knew he was going to be in that. I'd seen headlines about it. I was a subscriber to Entertainment Weekly, so I was very familiar with it. The Rock got cast in The Mummy Returns, and being a fan of The Mummy and a wrestling fan, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. We'll see like what he does. Maybe he'll be like the villain, or just kind of a big henchman or whatever it was. We didn't really know what he was going to do. Then when I see the movie and he's like the first thing in the movie, I was like, okay, this is cool. Like he's throwing people around, he's being a big dude. He's being fun. And then, 2 hours go by and you don't see him like at all. And then he finally shows up again as this, CGI scorpion. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess we're not going to get like proper Rock again. That's all we got. But, he still has a presence to him in this movie that, you can see why there was enough there. You can see why he would get the spinoff a year later,
According to his Letterboxd, one of his first credits technically is Beyond the Mat, but that's a documentary more than
It's a
anything.
documentary. I don't count that just because it's a documentary. He's playing himself. He's not playing a role. I consider this his first movie because he's his first one where he's playing a fictional character, essentially.
But this for The Rock at least had the most staying power for the most part because he got a spin-off, the Scorpion King movie, which I have not seen, so I can't comment on how good or bad it is. I imagine, Pez, you've seen it?
Yeah, it's been a while since I sat down and watched it, but from what I remember, it's a fun enough like sword and sandal kind of adventure. He's not a villain in the movie like he is in this one. He's the protagonist, obviously. But it's fun enough. He has some quippy stuff. He has a sidekick running around. He has a couple of creature fights, things like that. It at least, Jacob, it at least feels like the Mummy universe when you watch it. It does feel like the same universe. It has kind of the same vibe, kind of the same look, kind of the same editing, things like that. So they at least understood the assignment when they made the movie, and it does feel like a part of that universe at least.
To me, my favorite early Rock role is his role in The Rundown, the Peter Berg movie with Sean William Scott. That movie's a blast. I love it. It's really
fun.
Much.
It's very, very fun. Yeah, it's a good one. His early stuff is fun. It was when he got bogged down into like, I'm franchise Viagra, as he said on SNL, where he got kind of full of himself and started running on cruise control a little bit.
Yeah, his early output, and we can like talk about this all day, but his early output is wild. Like Rundown, Walking Tall, Be Cool, Gridiron Gang. He has a brief role in Coraline of all things. Like he's the twist villain in Get Smart, which is one of my favorite comedies from that era. So it's just like he was in Race to Witch Mountain. He was all over the place.
Yeah,
like,
it was all different stuff though. Yeah, he wasn't just making like, I'm beating up people action movies, like kind of generic stuff. Like he was doing comedies, he was doing action, he was doing, some kind of crazy off the wall stuff. Like you said, like Be Cool, kind of playing different characters. His initial run to me is similar to Vin Diesel, where I like a lot of the early Vin Diesel stuff, kind of the early 2000s, the early mid 2000s, when he was still doing kind of different roles and trying out some different stuff before he kind of just sat with the family in Fast and Furious and just did the same thing over and over again. Rock's kind of a similar thing.
But as far as the rest of the cast goes, you got Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz returning. They're great. I like how they didn't just break them up only to have them come back together again. They're married. They have a house. They have a son. that's
Mhm.
really nice. I'm glad they didn't go
Yeah.
there was a misunderstanding and they broke up. Like they actually not lived happily ever after, but they got married. They followed through with that. I like the spirit of that.
Yeah, no, it's good to see like their relationship worked out. Yeah, they still love each other. They still very much are into each other. Yeah, she's developed some of her skills since then. She's picked up some things from Rick. Some fighting skills and whatnot. They're still doing some treasure hunting kind of at the beginning. And yeah, and when you do, she gets kidnapped for a brief little bit here in the beginning, but like they don't keep them apart for too long, which I appreciate. They get them back together pretty quickly, and then they're after the kid. Now here comes my one of my main negatives. Okay, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure Freddie both is okay as a dude. I'm not big on Alex O'Connor. I think the character is a little annoying. Like throughout the movie, he doesn't quite like. I appreciate that he's a smart kid, that he knows his stuff, that he's been he's learned as a kid, and he knows his history and whatnot. I just think they try way too hard for him to be quippy and funny and to be just he's a little too full of himself, and I just think there's a little too much whining here and there. It just kind of grates on me a little bit, to where I'm kind of indifferent towards him by the end of the movie. I'm just like, look, man, I get that you have to be like, we got to get you to this temple before it like vaporizes you, but at this point, would I really be that sad if he got vaporized? I don't know. I'm more upset when when Evie gets stabbed. You know what I mean? Rather
Yeah.
than anything that happens to you.
I do agree with you quite a bit. Like he's fine, but like when he was like annoying Loch Na on the train,
Yeah,
played
yeah,
by
it's too much.
and I'm gonna try and pronounce this,
Oh my god,
Adewale
good luck.
Adewale Akinyoe Agbaji.
Yeah,
I
he
can't
played
even.
he played Killer Croc in Suicide Squad. That's what I know him from. He's a big dude. Big
I
tall dude.
will always remember him as Nikwana Wambozi from Born Identity.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
But he's good in this small role here, but on the train and he's like, "Are we there yet? No. Are we there yet? No." And he like takes the knife and
That's just,
stabs
yeah,
the hand in between like the webbings of the fingers. I'm like,
yeah.
wow, 2001. Okay.
Yeah. No, definitely. At that point, yeah, I think they were trying to have some stuff between them, but at that point, I was almost rooting for him to just go ahead and like finish the job. Like when he gets the okay to be like, we don't need him anymore. I'm just like, yeah, you know what, go ahead. And you see, he's so happy. Like I'm almost kind of with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, he's their stuff is like is mediocre. Arnav Vosloo's okay. He doesn't get a lot to do either, honestly. They kind of bring him back, and then he's just kind of along for the ride, like it just this idea of like, oh, I'll eventually defeat the Scorpion King and once again try to take over the world. Okay, it's not much new there. I still think he does what he can with little bits that he has. I like the little bit where he's kind of reminding Noxunamun who she is, and finally kind of reincarnates her properly and whatnot. So they get a little bit more to do, and just covering Odin Fair because we haven't talked about him again. I appreciate him coming back as Ardeth, the Magi leader. I mean, he's always great. He's one of the best at giving exposition. I think I can listen to that guy narrate my life. He's one of the underrated narrators, I think, in movie history. He's so great. He's got a great voice. And man, I'll be damned if I don't agree with people that say there was a period from like 99 to 2001 where he could have been the sexiest man alive. Like there's an argument to be made there. So he's a damn handsome man.
Yeah, I love the part where is like the bus chase happens and he's like on this double-decker bus and you're like, this is my first bus ride. I'm like, I wonder if he'll ever get on one again.
Yeah, they don't have that many moments like they do in the first one. I mean, they have a few little moments where he's just like, you want the shotgun? And he's like, no, actually I prefer the Thompson. It's just like little like he has a few little bits. Like I appreciate the little bits like that remind me of the first movie, those kind of like quippy little just quiet moments, not so much the over the top of just like, oh, I hate mummies, like that makes me eye roll a little bit, that sort of stuff. But again, the action set pieces are okay. The double decker bus chase is fun for what it is. It's at least creative, as they're kind of tearing the bus apart. I think the chase through the jungle is all right, with the little little pygmy little guys, chasing after him, sucking him down like the raptor scene in the Lost World, things like that. The what is it, the blimp with Izzy going through the strait with the river is just a retread of the first movie, so it's not much
It's a
new there.
dirigible.
It's a dirigible. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like Izzy, he's an okay character, but he doesn't get a lot to do either. To me, he's no Benny. Like he just doesn't stand up to Benny. Benny's just was the high bar that Izzy just quite isn't there. Even though he's a protagonist, he's not an antagonist. But he's just there to provide the transportation. So there's a couple of characters I just feel kind of get the short shrift. They don't quite have the development you really need them to really cook in this movie.
Sean Parks, bless him, he's trying, but like you said, to your point, where is like Benny, like there's the little scene where he's like holding up the cross and the Star of David, and like
it's one of the great moments in cinema history. Yeah, he's
which
done
one's gonna bail me out? Like,
which one's gonna bail me out? He's such a great weasel. Yeah, just all the little lines that he has, like the way he weasels out of situation. He's great. Like the Izzy thing, they just kind of allude to a few things that we've never seen kind of off screen, and he has like the fake eye patch and whatnot, but he only gets a few moments, and then once they're on the journey, he really doesn't have anything to do from there. That's kind of his one moment to shine is when they have the first meeting. That's really it. He just keeps going back to I got shot in the ass, line over and over again.
But last little bit about the CGI, we might as well just get this all in one go because it's not great. And in my opinion, there's some questionable CGI in the original, but I mean, it was 99, so I don't expect too much. But here, it's pretty grotesque in places. Like I'm pretty sure some of Anubis's soldiers looked like what Scrappy Doo looked like when like he was buff in the 2001 Scooby-Doo movie, which came out the same year. I could be looking too deep into it, but the point is that it's like what you've seen in memes and other things. It's not an exaggeration. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I wish they would have taken their time a little bit. They cranked this out, literally 2 years after the original. If they'd taken like an extra year, just to maybe like kind of hone in a little bit of the CGI, because the first one has a few rough moments, but I still think it holds up pretty well for the most part. Especially with the sand wall and things like that. There's stuff that does hold up. This one just kind of feels rushed. The Anubis army feels a little rushed. The little pygmy guys feel a little rushed. Obviously, the Scorpion King at the end looks rough, and although I did see a funny thing, Brendan Fraser talking about that at like a Comic-Con recently, and he was like, I love it. He's like, hey, look, listen, just leave it the way it is. It's a product of its time. Don't ever go back and change it, make it better. He's just like, look, it is what it is. It has a weird charm to it. It reminds us, how far we've come, for what we do, with computer effects and whatnot. So, it is what it is.
At the end of the day, I feel like as far as a rating goes, I'm going to give this a good rating, but a high good rating. It's definitely a step down from the original.
Yeah.
But I still had a good time with this, and I feel like there's enough of the elements from the first one to where you're like, okay, this seems worthy enough. Like it's definitely not perfect, but I did have a lot of fun with it. And to your point, the movie is 2 hours, 10 minutes, and it never stops. Like you just have to
once they
feel like take a breath.
It starts out a little slow, and literally once the guys show up and they dig up Imhotep, and like you get the double-decker bus. From the double-decker bus scene on, it's like, or really from the house invasion on, like right even before that, it's 100 miles an hour, nonstop for the next, hour and 45 minutes, whatever it is. So the movie doesn't stop to take a breath. I mean, it rips along at a pretty strong pace. But I just wish it would slow down a little bit to have those character beats. But I'm with you. Like, I don't think it's a bad movie. I still think it's an entertaining movie. I think it's a decent, worthy sequel to the original. I still get enjoyment out of it. I went and watched it in the theaters. My Regal was showing it for the 25th anniversary recently, so that was a nice little happy coincidence. I got to go do my rewatch, in the theater. And so I still think it's a good theater watch. It's just not. I hold the first one as like, and me, I'm a massive fan of that first one. It's like a top 10 movie of all time for me. Like, I think that's a pretty damn perfect movie, for what it does, for how it balances everything. This one just isn't quite up to snuff, but I don't discourage people from seeing it. I still think it's pretty entertaining.
There are worse sequels out there.
Way worse sequels, i.e. Tomb of the Dragon Emperor.
Well, that'll be coming up next. But what did you all think of The Mummy Returns? Let me know in the comments. Love to read what you have to say. Pez, thank you so much for joining me. You were recently on the 96 Project to talk about Tremors 2. You'll be coming back to talk about Phantom and Twister. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But tell the people where they can find you over at the Movie Hero Network.
Yeah, just a Movie Hero Network, both in a Facebook group we have where you can find a lot of our fun content creators over there, like Mr. Cameron here. A lot of people posting links to their shows and their reviews and their videos. So come join us over there. And the actual YouTube channel is just called the Movie Hero Network, and we do all kinds of shows over there: tournament fights, tier record fights, recast, Wheel of Movies. We were back into Scene and Her trivia, so we've got that going on as well. We got all kinds of fun stuff going on there. You know me, I'm a very, very busy guy over there. We do stuff almost every day of the week. So lots of content all over the place. Oh yeah.
But yeah, go check out the Movie Hero Network. I'm over there sometimes, so please go and check them out over there. As far as this channel goes, I'll be kind of rapid firing this one because schedule got away from me because The Mummy comes out this week. So I will be rapid firing these, but they will be coming out. And so next I will be covering Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. But as my name is Ryan Cash, see you all in the next one. Y'all take care.